class, welcome to Math Minutes, video number 16. Get your notebooks out, turn to pages 17 and 18. We're going to be working there this lesson, and we're going to start looking at how to add and subtract fractions when the denominators are not the same. So we're going to start looking at unlike fractions and how to combine them. If fractions are being added or subtracted, they must have the same denominator. If they don't, you find the LCD, which stands for least common denominator. This is one way to find the least common denominator. There are more ways to do this for higher numbers, more complex equations, but this is our first simple step. Step 1, write down each denominator on a sheet of scratch paper and then list the multiples of each number. We'll see what that is in the example. The first number you come to in each list that is the same is going to be your least common denominator, your LCD. So if I have these two fractions of 1/2 and 3/4, what's my step 1? I'm going to write down each denominator. Well, here I wrote down the 2, and here I have the 4. And now I've listed the multiples. Multiples of a number are, if I want all the multiples of 3, I'm going to say, 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 4 is 12. These are the multiples. So I've listed the multiples of the number 2. 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, and so forth. I end up with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Then, so that's my first denominator. My second denominator is the number 4. I do the same thing. I'm going to write out all the multiples of the number 4. 4 times 1, 4 times 2, and so on. 4 times 1, 4 times 2, so I have 4, 8, 12, and 16. Now, which numbers are the same? The first one I come to, the least, the lowest value, the first one I come to that's in both lists is 4. So in this case, 4 is going to be my common factor between these two fractions. So 4. Step 2, now that I've discovered that 4 is going to be my common denominator, I don't have to change 3/4 because that fraction is already with a 4th in its denominator. But I do have to change 1/2, and this is how I do it. Now I'm going to adjust the numerator by multiplying it by whatever number I used to multiply the denominator by. So what does that mean? First fraction here is 1/2. I found out that my common denominator is going to be 4, so I put a 4 underneath there. 2 times what gave me 4, and that was 2 times 2. That means this step, adjusting, all I'm doing, whatever I multiply this by, I have to multiply it to the numerator also. So 1 times 2, and that's where I get my 2/4. The new denominator was multiplied by 2, so the numerator is also multiplied by 2, and that's what we got right there, 2/4. We can now add the two fractions. So now I've rewritten it. If you see, it's the same problem. I've got 1/2 plus 3/4, but now I've changed the 1/2 to be 2/4, so I now have my common denominators. Now I can add them. 2/4 plus 3/4 equals, and I know I'm going to keep my 4, and I'm simply going to add 2 plus 3, and that gives me 5/4. I cannot add these until I had the same common denominator. Again, when you come up with problems in your homework assignment that are adding and subtracting fractions that are unlike, they have different denominators, refer to this worksheet, and these steps will help you through those problems. Remember, finish up your notebook and let's bring it to class, and I'll see you there, ready to work.